Welcome to CR Conversations, hosted by Ryan and Christina Palma of CR Photos.
We're professional photographers who survived the unpredictable and grueling path that took us from rudimentary dreamers to fully self-employed business owners. From sleepless nights of editing to daring leaps of faith when quitting 9-to-5 jobs, we kept pushing for the dream to become reality, and we did it together every step of the way.
Amazingly enough, our marriage also survived that journey.
In our 15 plus years in the industry, we've acquired a wealth of information that goes far beyond camera settings and marketing do's and don'ts.
We've also piled up countless stories, affectionately called Uncle Bob stories.
We'll be leaking those one episode at a time.
Don't worry, names and places have been changed to protect the guilty.
So welcome to CR Conversations. We hope you're ready to take a deep dive into life behind the lens and so much more.
Jumping right into the next episode, what you don't want to do as a wedding guest or as a bridal party member.
Ooh, we're going to condense all these things into one episode?
Yeah, another one of don't.
No, we haven't done a don't thing in a while. We've sprinkled them in because, we just have so much wisdom to impart.
Or we've seen so many good examples of bad examples.
Yeah. But these are, I think, really helpful. And I don't think this will be an extensive list by any means, but maybe the things that come to our mind right away when we're like, oh, yes, this happens all the time.
So without further ado, and I like that you've numbered these because
our last episode was a little rough. So I made sure when recapping, I numbered things for everybody who got mad about that.
Bulleted points, but not numbered.
Mm-hmm. We have numbers today.
All right, go for it.
Number 1 of something you don't want to do, as this is a for sure bridal party
and
thing.
This is just life in general.
Yeah. Make it all about you.
Except if you're the bride and groom.
Yeah, obviously. But if you're the bride or groom, it is all about you. So bask in that wonderfulness. But if you are a bridal party member, and I'm going to call it the girls and be like, guess what? It is not all about you. In pretty much every wedding party, there is one who forgets that truth.
Yeah,
and
it's frustrating because it reeks of selfishness when you are just being like, oh, I just got placed on this side of the bride and groom, meaning I'm going to have to show my unpreferred side of my face. Yes. Come on, seriously?
Yeah. There's always and I don't want to say always, a lot of times there is a bridal party member. And if you have a larger bridal party, chances are there's one or two where it's like, oh, well, I need to be on this right side all day and I need to do this. And I don't like the way my arms look. So make sure I'm not. And it's like, hold it.
Yeah.
Like, this is not about you. This is about the bride and groom. Now, if the bride has a preferred side, I am for sure going with the bride's preferred side all day long. You as a bridal party member are quite a bit lower on the tier of people I'm trying
priorities,
to work for.
And you're valued just as much as everybody else. But think about it. If we're trying to consider everybody that has these preferences and stuff, which is really, I say grow up, but honestly, how do you expect us to actually be like, all right, that person wants to be over there. Right. This person wants to be over there. Every single time we set up, it's hard enough coming up with poses right on the spot and stuff, and being spontaneous and doing a pose that that bridal party is going to engage with and enjoy. Because we do different stuff based on the temperature of the bridal party. Like some are just like real outgoing and fun. Others are just a little bit, more formal. And so we're trying to figure that stuff out and run with that. And then having to throw that on top. Come on.
Yeah. So all that to say, it's the bride and groom's day. Like, if you're a part of a wedding party, be there, support them. Your wants, needs, and desires are definitely
your backup dancer.
Your backup dancer.
You're on the stage, but you are,
along those same lines, what's our number 2?
Neglecting the wishes of the couple. And that often happens with mom and dad, right?
It does, unfortunately.
I'm going to throw girls under the bus again. Moms more than dads.
And it's most of the time, it's not done vindictively at all. It's just something will pop into mom's mind, or, oh, this person's here. I want to get a photo of that. I want to do this. And it's interjecting, what you want over the timeline or what the bride and groom have communicated with their vendors. So, just making sure that the bride and groom's wishes are number 1 and you respect that.
Yeah. And especially the day of, if you've already been kind of battling out for something specific and the bride won ahead of the day, please do not bring it up on the day of and try to continue on that battle of.
Yes, I full-heartedly agree. I see that happen. It's not pretty.
And I'll just say, sometimes dads do stuff too. Like they'll take over the attention of the entire audience to do some unplanned speech.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think we have that later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, just don't neglect the wishes of the couple on their actual wedding day. Number 3, if you are a guest or family members, this happens a lot with family members. We see this happening a lot. And I feel like it needs a little bit of explaining because at first it sounds kind of rude, but then you'll understand, like, if you're a guest, don't interrupt the photo time with the bride and groom. And what do I mean by that? Obviously, if the bride and groom are taking photos, don't go up to them and be like, hey, can I get a quick shot really quick? Or, hey, can I do this? Or, hey, can you take a photo of me with them? The bride and groom and their vendors have spent a lot of time planning every moment of their day so that the bride and groom can enjoy their time that they have designated to be with their guest.
Yeah. And I'm saying that we're taking the weight of the bad guy here, saying all these, don't do this. Really, we're saying it for you, bride and groom, and for you, groomsmen, bridal, party, anyone in the bridal party or guest, because, again, people are going to be polite. People are not going to be like, hey, we're doing this right now. Can you wait till later? But really, there's time at the end of the night. The reception is for all of that, for all the conversation, for all the selfies, all that wonderful stuff. So just remember the time and the place. Like when you're being ushered up to the front of the ceremony again for the formals after, just remember that's what you're there for, just for that short amount of time. You're going to say hi as you're filing into your spot, as you're waiting for everybody to get set up. You'll say hi, but don't stop the show.
Yes.
And, hinder everybody else from doing what they need to do by having a long conversation, trying to get some selfie and stuff like that. You just got to recognize the time and place. And again, sometimes people just don't recognize it.
Right.
And so we're just trying to make people more aware.
As
kindly as we can.
Yes. Another thing as a guest, obviously I didn't put this on the list, but arrive on time is that's very important, but
it's number what?
I don't know.
Number 4.
I don't know. Well, kind of.
We're numbering,
but
right?
We are. We are number 4, but I kind of added like a 3.5 in there. So arrive on time. But number 4 is if you are late, do not stand in the back of the ceremony site, which is typically what people do because you are in the photos of the bride coming down the aisle. If you are late and there's not a place for you to sit, you need to make sure you are out of shot. Like go to the sides, go somewhere where you are not forever in the photos behind the bride and her father coming down the aisle.
Yeah, out of place, sticking out like a sore thumb. You don't want to be remembered as the person that showed up late to the wedding anyway. So hide the evidence, hide yourself, get a seat or get to the side of the aisles where you will not be earmarked as that one person that was late.
Yeah. These next 3 or 4 have to do with a bridal party. So these are very fast. What should somebody not have as a bridal party member?
They should not have gum in their mouth.
Oh.
I should have gum in my mouth because I'm talking to people very closely and I'm not getting photographed. So I need to smell,
effervescent?
Yes. You used what I was going to. I was about to, but I was going to say pepperminty. But when you're getting photographed with gum in your mouth, we're not smelling, we're seeing.
Yeah. And some groomsmen in the very near future near past, may or may not have been walking up the aisle chomping on gum.
Yeah, because you do stuff that you're not realizing you're doing when you're nervous. Like when most people aren't accustomed to walking down aisles in front of everybody. And so sometimes chomping is a nervous habit. So if you got gum in your mouth and you're chomping the whole way down the aisle, it looks obnoxious. And again, back to the videographers.
Can't really hide that, unfortunately. Another thing, number 6, not to do is don't have sunglasses on coming down the aisle. Like we've literally done so many weddings where guys have sunglasses on, like fathers of the brides
eyes are the windows to the soul.
Sunglasses on while they're walking up the aisle with their daughter. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like the most tacky thing in the world. I'm sorry, you can judge me all you want, but take your darn sunglasses off. Like you want to see the expression and that comes through your eyeballs.
Your transition glasses.
Yeah. That's another one, which is tough. I recognize but this is something we say all the time during family formals. A lot of elderly people will have those transition sunglasses, just for the photos, we're going to take them off. And sometimes we're like, oh, well, I can't see them. Like, trust me, we want to see your eyes. Yeah. So sunglasses are a no-no on your wedding day while taking photos. what's our number?
Except for a couple of the fun photos.
Well,
with the guys.
yeah, like guys' bridal party, but like the actual ceremony, no sunglasses.
All right, so now we're getting into some stuff for, again, the bridal party and specifically the parts that you play in the ceremony that you're asked to do. And we are talking about speeches. We talked a little bit about this in the last episode, but speeches.
Yeah, so one of the things that happens quite often is that I would say don't do this. I think all of the vendors who listen to these speeches every single weekend would say don't do this. Is talk about inside jokes that nobody knows except from you and two other guys in the audience.
Because what benefit does it have?
Yeah, it does not bring, you're not learning more about the groom. You're just like, fake laughing because you're like, oh,
well,
that's
the rest
great,
of us are doing that.
Right.
You and the groom might be remembering stuff. And often if it is an inside joke, it's often about something that was like pretty embarrassing.
Yeah.
So it's like,
when someone's like, come to me after and I'll tell you, it's like, you probably don't want to be telling
I'll move on.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about an awesome thing that people do as groomsmen sometimes, or we just heard in a speech, short and sweet. I'd never heard a groomsman say it was his job to make sure that his groom loved his bride. I know we're going to talk about this probably in a further episode about like the good things you can do.
Yeah, yeah.
But he was there, and we say this all the time. As you stand up in the aisle, stand there as they're going through the ceremony, you are their biggest supporters.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And he actually said it in his toast.
He almost started crying.
Yeah, he said,
really sweet.
It's my job to make sure you love her. And obviously it does rest fully on the groom. But when you surround yourself with people that are causing you to be better, that's phenomenal. Like people that are into commitments, into, relationships that last. That's who you want to surround yourself in. So I'll just easily say, don't be the person that's like, bringing up old past relationships and all that garbage on days like this, or,
hopefully that doesn't need to be said, but maybe it does. But yeah, I mean, inside jokes, leave them to the inside. Yeah. Give them to yourself. Another thing that people should not do is make a toast when you have not been asked to.
Unless there's an open mic.
Yeah,
do not come up.
Yeah, and that has happened, and it's never once happened where it's like, oh, that was great. It added, nope. Almost, I can't think of a single time where it's been like, oh, that was wonderful. It's always been like, okay,
only when it's staged.
Yeah. We all say this. Well, Ryan can talk about this next one. Number 9.
Number 9, use your phone when you've been told not to.
Now, there's like these beautiful signs and all these announcements and all these things that happen.
Unplugged ceremonies.
On wedding days. And it's like crazy. It's almost as if people are blind and deaf and they use their
What
phones.
she's saying is always 99.9999% of the time, I'm at the front of the aisle as the processional's happening. And the worst thing is when people step into the aisle with their phones, and when it is not addressed, you'll have 10 of them. When it's addressed, you might have 1 or 2.
And I'm going to throw family under the bus. It's always a family member. It's like a parent or like an aunt or an uncle who just think they're above all of the things.
And it's always somebody at the front of the ceremony, center of the aisles. So they're stepping into the aisles. Yeah. Man.
That's what we're there for.
Okay. And again, on trying to make things better for you, because this all sounds very negative, but we're going to take that photo, not to brag, but we're going to take it better. You're going to have access to that later. You're going to be able to see that. Nothing that you're going to get in that moment is going to be better than our multi-$1,000 cameras and lenses and all the things that we've set up and prepared for.
If anything, you've making it worse.
And again, the worst part of it for yourself is you are not going to be in that moment.
Yeah.
One of the things that this generation doesn't understand is the experience of like just diving into a moment and not being anywhere else, being present is like something you have to work at. And honestly, people talk about the young kids doing it, but it's the older generation that has just gotten sucked into it so hard and they don't even realize.
Yes. I'm not going to add anything because you hit the nail on the head. It is, in all honesty, it's the older people.
Wait. Speaking our next
one, this is always
you vultures.
The older women. I'm calling you out. This is number 10.
I see some old dudes too.
Number 10. You are not supposed to have dessert until the bride and groom have cut the cake.
Oh my gosh. It is. All right. I just love watching. Yeah.
Vultures.
I just love watching the people like just staring at the desserts.
It's like.
And they come up like once or twice and kind of like peruse over the menu. They're looking. And then they come back. When they come back the second and third time, they're coming to grab something. And you're just like, how dare you?
There's literal signs up. It'll be like, please wait for the blah, blah, blah. Oh no, grandma's getting one. She don't care. It's like,
there is a clear line. It's like 47, 48. Let's just go with an even 50 and over. They just disregard the rules for food.
Oh my word. It is unbelievable. So guess what? Just public information. You are not supposed to have dessert until you are literally told you can have dessert. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Okay. Another thing that we see, and every time I see it happen, I'm like, oh.
We touched on it earlier, but it's the same. It's that concept, but even more.
So number 11 is don't be that guest who sits down and has this long conversation with the bride or groom.
Yeah, unless you deserve, like really, really have earned it. Like as in you are the elderly, most respected, loved grandma, and they come over and sit down with you. There are like 100 to 200 guests there. And if every person took that amount of time or a significant amount of time, you're taking away from the bride and groom being able to dance, taking away from them being able to mingle with other people, to eat, all the things. So again, this is a word of caution, not because people are mean and stuff. It's because people don't even think about it. And, there's these moments that are like, I'm seeing my favorite niece and nephew get married, or I'm seeing this friend that I work with and I want to tell him nice things and talk about things. But when we see like the groom, like kind of cornered into and I'm just like, I'm going to go save him. I'm going to go tell him I need him for this moment and stuff. Yeah.
Because when you think of it, even just a 10, 15 minute conversation, a wedding day goes by so fast. And if you are keeping a bride and groom from maybe their dance floor or just being with each other, that's, again, going back to one of our earlier things, like you're neglecting the wishes of the couple. Like they want to be with everyone. And of course, I'm sure they are, would love to spend that much time with each individual. But like Ryan said, like that's just not physically possible. So don't be one of those people who's, cornering the bride or groom. Maybe that's why
in the olden days or other cultures, they have like week-long parties.
Perhaps.
I don't know if I could commit to that kind of work.
Yeah. Our next one we definitely talked about a lot in our previous episode, so I will link back to that for like more detail. But like, do not have your children running amok during a wedding, stealing the show for once in a lifetime moments.
Yep. Kids are loved and they're there for a good reason because they're special. But they'll not understand the behavior that's required of them on a wedding day unless somebody is kind of directing them. If they see somebody dancing on the dance floor, they don't have the inhibitions that we have. They're just going to
go right up.
I love them. I'm going to go dance with them. And there they are. And they're stealing a moment.
And so have your babysitters or people in charge of all that stuff so that they do not take away from the main attraction.
Oh my gosh. People, I swear old people are going to hate us from here on out.
Because these things are on here, not because we've made them up, but because these things have happened. So why are you laughing at this next one?
Because again, people taking decor or centerpieces home without permission.
I kid you not. This is a real life story. I literally saw a woman essentially like casing the tables. A guest. This is a guest.
Oh, that'll look good in my 3 seasons room.
I see her like kind of like, walking around.
Pacing out the joint.
I'm not at all thinking what actually happens. I'm just like, okay, whatever. And then all of a sudden I like look out and she's like beelining it for the parking lot with all of her stuff.
She's got a moving van coming to meet her in the parking lot.
She literally took the centerpieces. And it was not like one of those I saw someone be like, here, take a centerpiece home. No. She cased which one she wanted. She found it and then took off. So
yeah, that's more of a rare case, I suppose. But
don't be taking things home without permission. We need to start
photographing those people as they go over evidence.
I know. Oh man, what is something else that somebody should not do?
Oh, this should not have to be said, but
I know
it's only happened one time, so this is kind of a remember when funny story. Don't toss money around during your toast.
Oh my gosh.
This happened.
Oh yeah.
The toast was just bad.
Oh my word.
What's the movie? The Good, the Bad, the Ugly? Well, it started at bad, got badder, and just got ugly.
At one point, this individual was literally just walking around tables, tossing money. Like
I don't know what
was
he
happening.
was thinking. Like he literally tossed it as if it was like crumbs for people. I think he was like trying to pretend to be royalty and tossing out large swaths of $100 bills and people are going to dive around. But like he was literally handing out like a $15 gift card to the fun center.
It was very odd.
It was weird.
I remember like we caught eyes with the DJ and we're like, what's happening right now?
Do you think he was winging that toast?
Yeah. And that's number, their next one here. Don't wing your toast. Prepare for it. Like nothing is worse than unprepared, mumbled, jumbled, weird. Just prepare.
Even if you're a good, eloquent public speaker, you got to know the direction you're going to go in your toast. And so they could go down a weird road if you're just kind of winging it and getting sidetracked, and all of a sudden you're in a spot where that's you're trying to get off stage by throwing cash.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Number 16. What is next?
No pranks or frat boy behavior. When I was a child, I behaved like a child. But people, we are not children here. We're adults. And having fun.
Again, goes back to like the bride and groom's wishes. Like, and you should definitely talk about this because more times than not, it is the guys.
All right, the boys take the brunt of it for this one. Yeah, I mean, have fun. I will. One of the things I pride myself on and say as I enter the room is like, guys, I'm not stopping the party today. I'm part of the party. We're gonna have fun, but. Well, fortunately, we haven't seen anybody depant somebody in the middle of any special moment. At least in
a few years. It's been a few years, so thankfully the maturity level has gone up.
Yeah, hold that back. Any of those things that you want to do, at least wait late into the night on the dance floor when...
You can have fun, at the reception, but when you're trying to get through like photos and all that kind of like more quote unquote stressful time, like be present, follow directions, like don't be obnoxious.
Which would go back to trying to like steal the show. You are a participant in a very special day. So again, this comes out of ignorance, but sometimes it's like, come on, man.
It's not a party for you. It's our next one is, and this probably goes back to the girls again.
Girls.
Don't complain about the dresses you have to wear. Like if you don't love it, you don't feel pretty. Hey, I get it. We've all been there. But again, it's not about there. You haven't.
Clarify.
Yeah, Ryan has never felt
I have been in
1,000% confident every single day of his life.
I have been in non-stretchy clothes for that. Go back to the last episode.
Yes, that's true. But
those are uncomfortable.
We all get that you may not love the dress that you're asked to wear, or it might not, it might not be the most flattering, whatever. Put on your happy face, do it for your friend, and don't complain about it. Nobody should know if you hate the way you look that day.
We'll say sorry for you.
Okay.
We're almost done here.
We are almost done.
Which, I mean, you kind of just overlapped into that next point.
We did.
Don't act as if the day is for you.
It's for the bride.
All right. So this was one of the coolest things I saw this last one, which is just kind of a positive bunny trail. So we had a couple that was we talked about like really fun, crazy, energetic bridal parties. And then there are just their personalities are a little bit more subdued. So we had one of those, and then the dance floor, they killed it. And the bride and groom were like, and I remember thinking back to our wedding, our dance floor, and the moment when we were just looked at each other and we were like,
Can you believe this is our wedding?
Yeah, this is our party. Yeah. Like it was awesome. And so, and it was so cool to see because it was like they were so happy in that moment.
Yeah.
They probably maybe had the same experience where they were just like, this went way better than I anticipated. So you can help that by being a supporter, but certainly don't hinder that by trying to make the day about yourself. Again, that as Christina touched on, not complaining about your attire, not wanting, being vocal about, I need to be on my good side. As a guy, not trying to steal the show.
Being obnoxious.
Yeah.
Lastly, and this kind of goes, Ryan was talking about the dance floor. This is something that I often think of when I'm shooting the dance floor. I'm like, oh my gosh, like what on earth?
You're going to have to explain this one.
I will. So I wrote down number 19, don't overpower the bride and groom on the dance floor. And this is what I mean by that. Sometimes bride and groom are on the dance floor right away and they're like, we're here for the night. We're here to stay. And it's like very simple, like very fun. Everyone's on there. But more times than not, the bride and groom actually don't join the dance floor until, a good hour in, maybe sometimes.
Yeah, because now they're catching up on all those conversations and stuff.
So
the appropriate time. Sorry, inappropriate that I keep interrupting. I know. Geez. It is the appropriate time for those.
I'm sorry for talking while you're interrupting. Please go ahead.
No. You carry on now. You have my permission to proceed.
That was a line I learned from my dad. So when the bride and groom are on the dance floor, and especially...
No.
What?
Was it your dad?
Yes, of course it was my dad. He's literally said it since we were children.
You're right.
I know I'm right.
Okay, you're right.
Oh my gosh. All right. So anyhow, when the bride and groom are on the dance floor, everyone's super excited, right? But what happens a lot of times is someone's like, oh my gosh, they're on the dance floor. And then they're like this, like all up in their business, all like super close to them. Just trying to essentially harness all the excitement that the bride and groom are bringing and like suck that in themselves. And in my mind especially as a shooter, I'm going to speak as a vendor, like photographer, videographer here. Photographers and videographers often have an end time. So we are very anxious to get some good photos of the bride and groom on the dance floor. And when the bride and groom finally get on the dance floor, but everyone is literally just trying to be on top of them or not let the bride and groom actually dance with each other for a few minutes, it's really difficult for us to do our jobs. Or what happens sometimes is like, oh, right away, we're going to pull out, some sort of like Congo line, or we're going to do a spin the bottle. And then it's like, okay, the bride and groom finally got on the dance floor, but they're just standing on the sides. Every couple's personality is different. So perhaps they're in the middle, but just kind of letting the bride and groom do what they want when they first enter the dance floor and not like control and manipulate the situation when they finally do enter the dance floor.
I'm glad you gave that last line, let the bride and groom do what they want. Cause people go different ways. Some people are drawing everybody and surrounding them. But again, let them do what they want because they may want to. This might be the first time they've sat down, had a dessert, had some drinks, talked to people. So if they want to dance, let them dance. Yeah. Man, I tell you what, bride and groom, wedding day, it should be the greatest day of your life because everybody is treating you like royalty.
Yes, that's what they should be. Soak it in.
They should be. They should be, what do you want to do? It's like you're just reverted back to being a child and the whole world is about like, hey, how can we take care of you? But
another thing too, I'll add, and I just thought of this, and this is like literally me being like extremely nitpicky and being like, help me do my job better. When you see the photographer on the dance floor, give some space for the photographer. Like let them kind of be a part of what's happening. Not that we're sitting there dancing, but we're trying to get like a feel in the middle of the dancing, what's happening. And this happens often again, by this time people are drunk. They're not really paying attention to what's going on, which is totally fine. Like I said, this is a little plug for us. Like give us a little bit of space to be a part of what's going on so we can capture it. Don't be afraid. Not weird. Yeah. Don't be afraid of the camera. Like turn towards it. A lot of times people, when you get on the dance floor, they like turn their back and it's like, no, like dance towards the camera. That's great. Yeah. Be, a part of it. Help us get some great photos.
Engaging with the cameraman is 100% approved. Good. All for it. Usually I just have to kind of a real quick nudge and get them to turn and like I'll dance a little bit, not like fancy thing, but I'll start swaying. So I'm like, hey, come on, dance towards the camera, engage them, pull them in.
Yeah, don't be afraid of the camera and don't just literally completely block the shooters out. Like literally sometimes I'm like, am I invisible? Did nobody see it? Like they're literally standing right in front of me.
I think people don't do it on purpose. I do think they do not do it on purpose, but exactly what you said. I'm like, I'm trying to get the bride and groom right there.
And they're just like completely oblivious.
You do not make a good door good window. You're a door.
Okay, we need to stop. All right. We do have some funny stories that kind of align with things that guests should not do on a wedding day. So without further ado,
I'm taking this one again.
Remember when?
All right, this one is this was mind-boggling. Okay, two things happened at the same wedding that I had never seen before. Almost every single wedding, there is a first. Either a first, special event, something that was planned that I had never seen before, or there is somebody doing something obnoxious.
I was like, obnoxious.
That should not have been done. And I'm like, well, never seen that before. I'm still seeing first after 13, 14 years. So this wedding, as the bride and groom are coming back up the aisle after they just got pronounced husband and wife, I am not kidding. If I didn't see it happen, I would not believe it. A guy introduced himself to the groom while he was walking up the aisle, like pulled him in. Hey, I'm so-and-so. It's so good to be here. So good to meet you. And I'm like,
what?
Do you know where you are right now? What in your mind possessed you to think that was normal?
Yeah, takes all sorts.
All right. So I said, guy, I got a girl one for you. We're going back and forth with this one. Everybody's guilty. Everybody.
Guilty.
All going under the bus. All right. So now we're doing toast. And toasts happen and then they're done.
Yep.
It's not like you could restart the toast and be like, hey, I didn't get that. One of those moments.
Once in a lifetime moment we have to be on our game for.
I am taking photos of the toast. And as I'm moving through the crowd to get different angles and stuff, this woman nudges me, like grabs my sleeve as I'm walking by. And she goes, can you get our photo? And she's talking about her and, the lady that was sitting next to her. And I was like, all right, I'm accommodating. I do not like to be, I don't like to, start a fight or whatever. I'm usually like, all right, if I can do it, I'll do it. I was like, no.
Everyone's like, what? There's toast happening right now and I have to document this.
I could not believe that it happened. I was just like, you get back to the vendor table and you're like, oh my gosh. Yeah, this.
So don't do that at somebody's wedding.
Because I don't want to have to talk about you in future episodes.
Yeah. So I hope this is helpful for you if you are planning to attend a wedding, if you are a part of a wedding, or if you're just here listening. I hope you were entertained.
Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained?
Seriously, those, I will not ever not think about those and laugh.
I literally remember you coming over to the table and be like, you will not believe what just happened. Someone just asked me in the middle of toast, can you stop and take a portrait of our table or whatever? And I was like, well, new things every day.
Yep.
We can't get too used to things just going smoothly
and
go the way they should.
If they did, we wouldn't have these
right.
stories.
So thank you so much for the things that you do at weddings that give us topics to talk about.
Yeah.
Please subscribe, and share, and leave us a 5-star review. If you leave us a review with a special little note, like these guys have awesome stories, or I think their voices are melodious.
I did not fall asleep while listening to their podcast.
We will give you a shout out. So for sure, do that, and we will be eternally grateful. But until next time.
That's a stretch. Eternally grateful.
I mean,
we'll be great. We'll be grateful for sure.
I'll be eternally grateful. I don't know about him, guys.
Adios.
We've got to come up with something better. Hope you're not bored to death.
We hope today's episode was insightful. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already, please subscribe and leave us a 5-star review, as this helps others find us. If you have any questions or comments on topics you'd like to hear us unpack, please send those to podcast@crphotos.org. Lastly, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, where we can be found at C_R_conversations, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a post.